was in a hot, dead state that nearly 14 million years ago expansion started. Wait, the earth began to cool, the autotrophs began to drool, Neanderthals developed tools, we built a wall. We built the pyramids, math, science, history, unraveling the mystery that all started with the Big Bang.
From the ships of the sea, to the railways of the land, to the advancements of tech. They all tie back to one thing. Farmers! You see, I feel like farmers today are not getting the love and recognition that they deserve. Just because they're quite literally the backbone of the world. Not their towns, nor the state, or even the country. Legit, the whole world. Without them, they legit are the ones who put the food on your table. But yet, I feel like they're not getting the recognition and yet the love that they deserve, especially right now. But first, when did farming begin? You see, farming began around 12,000 years ago, during the Ice Age. This was around the time when we still hunted and gathered. And yet the gatherers soon discovered something. When they picked off certain plants, they had seeds. And yet, when they ate them, they either got rid of the seeds, or yet ate the seeds. But yet they noticed something. When they put them into their waste pile, not too far from their little settlement, filled with bones, waste, and yet other stuff, it proved just to be a very perfect place for plants just to grow. Due to this, plants were able just to grow there. And due to this, it allowed for people to realize that they can just grow plants, no longer having to rely on animals or get local berries. They can just simply just grow what they need and not have to worry about having to go north or south. They can just stay in one place year round without having to move. They can settle down. And yet, due to that, it resulted in people moving in and creating small towns and yet even cities, since they were able just to do that, the most famous of which being the Niles in Egypt. And yet, it was even important during the last past centuries, specifically during ships, specifically when ships traveled on the sea. Hardtack was a staple food, which is nothing more than just flour and water. Due to this, it never expired, which was extremely beneficial for, well, the shipgoers. Although it did not have any important vitamins, or yet really anything that's really essential. But however though, that was soon changed around the Industrial Revolution, specifically with the railways. Since, let's just say, this town itself grows a berry, but yet wants to have this certain fruit, but yet the other town grows a fruit, but wants to get a berry from the town. They could trade, but yet it's going to be a long journey, and yet the fruit itself will most likely expire before they even arrive. Thanks to the railways, it was able to deliver and transport food a lot more efficiently and quickly. Thus allowed for farms to connect with cities, and especially with the invention of refrigerated boxcars, it allowed for even more fresh food, which allowed for people to have better diets and yet a lot more better connections. But unfortunately, right now farmers are going through one of the worst times in history, since not only they have to deal with laws, specifically with science, but also with the concerning amount of people who are going hungry. And yet who want to have healthy foods as well. You see, with science, it's meant just to be, well, good. Since before, farmers themselves had the trial and error with selectively breeding the plants. Basically, again, like corn. Making sure that the corn itself was able to have good qualities. But with science, you are able to import a DNA from another plant, let's say a tomato, and import it into a corn, and which can result in this very cool and very unique hybrid, which could be extremely beneficial. A good example would definitely be golden rice, which is very rich in vitamin A. And this is absolutely amazing because, well, with rice itself is a notoriously easy and yet very cheap food. And yet, certain places don't have access to foods and yet don't get the vitamins that they need. But with this golden rice, it can allow for people to eat more healthy and yet have a better chance in life. But unfortunately, thanks to basically companies who have very strict and very tight laws, it's kind of a little bit more difficult just to grow and own the plants, in which farmers are currently facing with that, since they're not allowed just to grow seeds from the previous harvest, just because, well, the companies say that it's technically theirs, so they have to buy new seeds from them, primarily just because of pesticides and stuff like that. But which, of course, due to the fact of machinery being extremely expensive, it's kind of resulting in farmers having to constantly pay practically kind of like a subscription to those companies just to have seeds. And they can't regrow it, even if they wanted to, because of laws. Due to this, it's extremely stressful since they have to constantly just spend. Since they have to buy and spend money on these plants just so they can at least afford just to live. And yet, the income that they earn is barely enough just to pay for everything, for the machinery, and yet for those damn seeds. Due to this, farmers themselves are going through one of the most stressful times, since not only have to deal with the demand of the world, but yet they're not allowed just to grow healthy and very good plants. Such as, for example, corn. Corn is good, but yet it's extremely unhealthy, both for people and yet for the world. Since with corn, it can be made into notorious things, like plenty of things, but yet, unfortunately, it's also yet requires a lot of nitrogen, which is very bad for the environment. And yet with that corn, such as corn syrup, which is very unhealthy for us, due to this, it's not the farmer's fault, it's more or less of what they have to do, since corn is the most profitable food in the world. But yet, unfortunately, it's generally one of the more unhealthier ones. Due to this, I kind of want to bring awareness to all of this, since I feel like farmers themselves are not getting the recognition and yet the respect that they deserve. In which, for it, I'm hoping that at least this inspires you to at least go and mark some change. Maybe at least go and buy some local food. Or yet at least go and talk with the farmers, since they're currently going through a lot of stuff, and yet a lot of them suffer from mental health. So which, if you ever meet a farmer, tell him that he's doing good. That he's doing a great job. Anyway, this is my video, and which thank you for watching.